All right, thanks so much for joining us once again on The Bright Side. We've been covering alternatives to cardiovascular drugs for the past couple of months or so. If you're one of the 20 or 30 million people taking statin drugs, or if you're one of the many millions of people taking beta blockers or calcium channel blockers, I want to point out two very important things. Number one, no matter what you've heard, people, about lowering this number, more HDL, lower LDL, raising this test score or that test score, you are doing absolutely nothing to improve your health if you are taking a prescription drug. I don't care what it does to your HDL or LDL. If you are taking a prescription drug, people, you are putting stress on your body, on an already stressed out body. You're adding more stress to an already stressed out body. A prescription drug can do nothing, period, end of story, nothing to improve your health. That's not how drugs work. Your body is not thanking you for taking a statin drug, rest assured. Your body is not very happy with you if you are taking a beta blocker or a calcium channel blocker or any other cardiovascular drug. You're just giving your body more toxicity to deal with. An already toxic body is now being overloaded with even more toxicity. What's even more important is your participation in the pharmacological model. If you're taking prescription drugs, participation in this drug model and this medical deceit is allowing us to participate, to perpetuate the lifestyle choices that created the circulatory problems, that created the heart problems in the first place. How in God's name is it even remotely possible to think that a poison, which is what a pharmaceutical drug is, how is it possible to think that a poison can create health? Where did this hypnotic trance that we're all under come from? The second point is to recognize that there are some very important, gentle, non-toxic nutritional strategies that we can use that truly can reverse heart health issues, whatever those may be. And what's more, these nutritional strategies, when they're done correctly, can not only begin to literally reverse circulatory and cardiovascular breakdowns, but they do their work in a non-toxic fashion. In other words, not only are there no side effects with nutritional strategies, but they're beneficial effects. You get extra beneficial effects. When you use vitamins or essential fatty acids, not only are you going to improve your cardiovascular health, but you're going to improve your bone health too. You're going to improve your mental health too. You'll support your immune system too. If you have deficiencies in vitamin E and you start taking vitamin E for cardiovascular health, now you're restoring your body's nutritional status. And the same is true about any nutrient, essential fatty acids, the B complex, carnitine, coenzyme Q10. These are all nutrients we've talked about as they regard cardiovascular health, but when you take your coenzyme Q10, when you take your carnitine or your B complex or your vitamin C or your essential fatty acids or your magnesium or your selenium to protect your heart, now not only are you protecting your heart, but you're getting multiple nutritional benefits. There's no drug on the planet that can do that. Now, nutrients, nutritional supplements don't work the same way that drugs do. They're not going to knock out systems in the body the way drugs do, so the results that you get from nutritional supplementation occur slowly, occur over time, and occur in a sustained long-term fashion. It may take a year, it may take more than a year, depending on how sick you are, but rest assured, once you get your nutritional house in order, once we start to make better lifestyle choices, results are a sure thing, because that's the way the body works. The body knows what to do. Our responsibility is simply to give the body what it needs in terms of raw material, and that's what nutrition is. And not to give the body the things that it has to deal with, that it has to process as poisons and toxins, pharmaceutical drugs and food chemicals, processed food chemicals. Pharmaceutical drugs and processed food chemicals are poisons. Processed flours, processed fats are a no-no. Let the pharmaceutical CEO and let the doctors take their own darn drugs. Unless you own stock in Merck or in Pfizer or some other drug company, prescriptions are only benefiting some pharmaceutical company CEO, some stockholder somewhere, and some pharmaceutical corporation's bottom line. That's the only people that get benefited by prescription drugs, with the exceptions, of course, of antibiotics and occasionally chemotherapy. All right, so as promised, I want to talk about amino acids and cardiovascular disease. There's a lot of roles that amino acids and these building blocks of proteins can play in the body, and one of the most important roles they play is in supporting cardiovascular health, heart health. The large bulk of the body tissue is protein, and amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Just like letters are the building blocks of words, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Most researchers feel like the body's around 15 or 16% protein. If you take the water out, it's probably closer to 80% protein. That means 80% amino acids. So obviously, amino acids can have a tremendous impact on the health of the body in general and on cardiovascular health specifically. Not only are these proteins, these amino acids, critical for repair and regeneration of the heart tissue itself, the heart structure, which is largely protein-rich muscle and connective tissue, but as it turns out, amino acids have an important role to play in the chemical and electrical nature of the heart as well. We'll talk about that when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Our number is 866-582-9933. We'll continue on with amino acids for cardiovascular health when we come back from our break. We've been talking about nutritional alternatives for cardiovascular health for the last couple of months. We've covered CoQ10 and carnitine and vitamin E, bile support using digestive nutritional supplements. We are going to continue talking about alternatives to cardiovascular health. Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer around the world. Clearly, it's a significant issue, and if you're on a prescription drug now, a beta blocker, calcium channel blocker, or one of those notorious statin drugs, which we'll be covering here in the future, if you're on any of those kinds of drugs, please understand there are wonderful nutritional strategies, non-toxic nutritional strategies that you can use to get you off your deadly prescription drugs and literally to start to reverse heart disease. I want to talk about amino acids in cardiovascular health. Most people don't think about proteins or amino acids for taking care of the heart, but they have a very important role to play in cardiovascular health. They're important for repair and regeneration of the tissue, the heart tissue itself, which is composed largely of protein. But they also have another role to play, and that's a chemical role and an electrical role to play. And when it comes to electricity, when it comes to electrical energy, there is no amino acid in the body with more electrical responsibilities than the amino acid taurine, Taurine. Now, you don't hear a lot about taurine, and it's unfortunate because this is an astoundingly important amino acid. As far as electrical energy goes, the heart is the quintessential example of a bioelectrical system, a biological electrical system. And taurine is the quintessential example of a biologically electrical nutritional substance. The heart's an electrical organ. Taurine is an electrically active amino acid, which makes it super, super important for cardiovascular health. Taurine is amazingly important for keeping the heart's rhythms operating the way they should. Taurine is found in the body wherever smooth electrical energy is required. Taurine has a dampening effect on electrical energy. It smooths out electrical energy, and that means taurine is going to be very important for the brain, it's going to be very important for the eyes, and it's going to be very, very important for the heart. The heart is very dependent on electrical energy, and taurine has a dampening, smoothing effect on electrical energy, and it helps keep the heart pumping with a healthy heart rhythm. Heart arrhythmias, when the heart rhythm gets messed up, that can cause the heart to beat too slow. It can cause the heart to beat too fast. They call it bradycardia. If the heart is beating too slow, B-R-A-D-Y, cardia, bradycardia. Or if the heart beats too fast, that's called tachycardia. Or if the heart just beats irregularly. These can be harmless, but they can also result in strokes or heart failure. There's different types of cardiac arrhythmias. You can have extra beats. You can have fibrillations. Fibrillations are shaky kind of beats where blood doesn't get completely ejected from the heart. You can have bradyarrhythmias where the heart is not beating fast enough, or tachyarrhythmias where the heart is beating too fast. The bottom line to heart rhythm issues is something is messing up the electrical energy of the heart. Oxygen or lack of oxygen, nutritional deficiencies, prescription drugs, non-prescription drugs, emotional stressors can all have a negative effect on this electrical energy. Previous injury to the heart, such as a heart attack, can also cause changes in electrical conductivity that can lead to arrhythmias, diabetes, sleep apnea, thyroid issues, hypertension. All of these are risk factors for problems with a heart rhythm. One of the medical model's favorite ways to treat arrhythmias is to poison the heart. I am not kidding you, people. That's exactly what these drugs do. They poison the heart. When I first learned about this in pharmacy school 25, 30 years ago, I was completely blown away. I had no idea that the medical model involved poisoning the heart to treat the heart. Beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, one of the most poisonous substances in the entire U.S. pharmacopoeia, something called digoxin, which is a mainstay of cardiovascular pharmacology. Amiodarone, blood thinners like warfarin, disopyramide, Plavix. These are all drugs that poison the heart or the circulatory system in order to reestablish the rhythm. Now, I want somebody to tell me where it became acceptable to poison the heart in order to stabilize the rhythm. Now, who in their right mind would ever think it's a good idea to poison your heart? Doctors even do something called cardiac ablation, where they will literally destroy. To ablate means to destroy. Cardiac ablation is when the medical paradigm allows us to literally destroy or scar areas of the heart to get the rhythm of the heart stabilized. I'm not kidding you, folks. There's thousands of these procedures performed every year, and the rates are increasing. They'll either do it via open heart surgery, where they make a little cut in the heart tissue. They'll open up your chest cavity, and they'll literally knife into your heart to intentionally create scar tissue. Or the more humane way, the more gentle way, is, well, they'll stick a catheter through a vein in your groin, and then they'll thread the catheter up to your heart, and then they'll shoot radio waves, radio frequencies through the catheter to destroy part of the heart. I am not joking. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's not. This is an accepted medical treatment for stabilizing heart rhythm. It reminds me of when I went to the Pharmacy Museum in New Orleans, where you get to see all the crazy devices that doctors have used throughout history. It's like a museum of torture devices. My favorite one, I remember they had this thing called a recto-rotor, and this was a device that was designed to provide relief from constipation and prostate troubles, and I'll leave the grim details of how the recto-rotor, this is not a joke, this is true. They have a recto-rotor. And I'm going to leave the details to your imagination, but you can just imagine what the recto-rotor does. At least it was more humane than the hot iron pokers that medieval doctors used to use on hemorrhoids. These days, medical torture devices are a little bit more high-tech, but it's probably safe to say that the radiofrequency catheter cardiac ablation device is destined to be on display at the Museum of Idiotic Medical Devices in some future time. Not surprisingly, there's major complications from this cardiac ablation surgery, including the major complication of death, which occurs in 6% of ablation procedures, according to an article that was published in the Journal of Hospital Medicine. This is the depths of the stupidity that our much ballyhooed medical model has sunk to when it comes to treating disease. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side, nutritional strategies, alternative nutritional strategies for cardiovascular health. Our number is 866-582-9933. We'll be back right after this break. We're talking about the amino acid taurine, one of my favorites, one of my favorite amino acids. It's got so many neat things, neat roles to play in the body. Taurine is similar in many ways to the element lithium. Lithium also has a membrane stabilizing effect and helps dampen electrical energy, and lithium has been used to treat bipolar disorder. Well, taurine has many of these many similar properties to lithium. Taurine can be used as an anticonvulsant. Taurine can be used to help stabilize energy for folks who are withdrawing from drugs. Sometimes they'll feel jittery or they'll feel excitable. Taurine can have a dampening effect on that kind of excitable energy. Taurine has a really neat electrical property that we don't hear a lot about, but people don't talk about amino acids for helping stabilize electrical energy. That's why taurine is used in a lot of eye vitamins. The eye is subjected to a lot of photoelectrical energy. And of course, the heart is a seriously important electrical organ in the body, and taurine has a lot of roles to play when it comes to cardiovascular health. We'll be talking about that in the coming days. But we got some folks on the line. I think it's time to get to our phone calls. 866-582-9933 is our number. Let's go to Nevada and talk to Charlene. What's up, Charlene?
Hi, doctor. This is Charmane. Is how you pronounce it.
Charmane?
Yes.
Did you say? Okay, I'm sorry, Charmane. Go ahead. And by the way, I'm a pharmacist. Just a pharmacist, not an MD.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
I developed stones in my saliva gland, which I've done for about 30 years, and I have to go in and get them taken out.
Oh, God.
And yeah, and
you have them frequently. How many times have you had them?
About every 2 years.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and I had a gland taken out, and even with the gland out, I still developed I think they're calcium stones.
Okay. Have you listened to this program before?
No, I just came in contact with Andy Anderson, and he told me that I should call you.
Okay. Well, let me tell you one of the principles, one of the medical or health principles that we work with here on the Bright Side, and that is the idea that it's not so much your specific flavor of health issue that counts as much as it's the underlying breakdown of the biochemistry, the metabolism of the body. The body is always breaking down and building up, breaking down, building up, breaking down, building up. It breaks down in order to keep new tissue going. You can't put new wine in old vessels, as they say, and it's the same way in the body. The body's always breaking down old tissue and building up new tissue. So you're always in this constant breakdown, build up, breakdown, build up, breakdown, build up. However, we are either net, when you add up all the breakdown and build up reactions in the body, you're either net breakdown or net build up. So whenever you have a disease, whether it's diabetes or cardiovascular disease or the formation of stones, saliolithiosis, the formation of stones in the saliva glands or the formation of gallstones or whatever your particular flavor of health issue is, what you're really looking at is the body is net breakdown. Your body is net breaking down. One of the classic manifestations of net breakdown is calcification of tissues. That is calcium leaching out of the bones and starting to deposit in different tissues. In fact, that's one of the ways we die. Our heart or our brain literally calcify. Well, guess what's happening to you, ma'am? Charmane, in your body is somehow, for whatever reason, your body is starting to dissolve and calcium is showing up in different parts of the body. Now, the salivary glands have very tiny openings, and when calcium stones build up in the different fluids of the body, they can form stones in different kinds of glands and different kinds of openings, and that's apparently what's happening to you. So I would be treating your stone formation in the salivary glands is a sign that your body's starting to break down. Bones are starting to dissolve. Calcium is not getting metabolized correctly. And this can be secondary to a lot of things. One of the most important reasons why this happens is the fluids start to become acidic. Now, I don't know if you've heard about pH. pH is a measurement of acid or alkaline. The body's fluids, the internal milieu of the fluids of the body, the internal environment, needs to be maintained at a slightly alkaline pH, around 7.4-ish, 7.38 to be exact. Once you start to become acidic, calcium metabolism can suffer. That is, the body will start to leach calcium out of the bones in order to raise the pH of the body to the alkaline status. Calcium is an alkaline mineral. So what I'd be doing first of all, if I were you, is I'd be, number one, working on alkalinizing fluids. You may actually want to even see have a blood pH done and see where you're at. If you're acidotic, that can have a lot of negative implications on your future health. So alkalinizing the body becomes very important, and the single most important way to alkalinize your system is by practicing deep breathing techniques. I know a lot of people are eating certain foods to maintain alkalinity of the fluids, but oxygenation is the way your body is designed to maintain its alkaline status. So deep breathing techniques are very important for that. If you're considering if it's true that your body is acidic or your fluids are acidic, which I'm guessing it is. So deep breathing techniques, number one, that's the most important thing you could do. Number two, if you're not absorbing calcium out of foods, or if you're taking calcium supplements, are you on a calcium supplement, by the way?
Charmane? I just started with Andy.
Okay, well, then you're probably not taking a calcium supplement, but chances are you notice that you have some digestive issues. And if you didn't notice, then start noticing it, because it's very possible that you're not absorbing minerals and you're not absorbing calcium especially. So you may want to start taking in digestive enzymes and probiotics and paying attention to the digestive system. One of the things we talk about here on the Bright Side a lot is doing what's called a food diary or a food journal, where you notice your digestive symptoms, you write it down in a little book, and then you write down what you ate 3 or 4 hours before. So if you bloat or you have nausea or heartburn, by the way, heartburn is very common with calcification. Do you have heartburn?
Very bad.
Okay, yeah. There you go. You're a classic case, ma'am. You want to focus on your digestive system. It sounds like you're not absorbing calcium. It also sounds like you may be, at this point, your body may be acidic. So get yourself on probiotics. Very often when we don't absorb minerals, we have a problem absorbing oils and fats. Oils and fats are very important for the absorption of minerals. Most people don't understand this or talk about this, but if you're not absorbing fats, and 30% of Americans have fat malabsorption syndrome, calcium will not go where it needs to be. It will hang out in fluids and start to deposit in tissues, and that's where you get your stone formation. So focus on this whole stone formation in the salivary glands as a digestive issue, number one. Practice deep breathing techniques, number two. And then 2 nutrients that may be helpful for you for calcification, for all calcification issues, are vitamin K, which is a fat-soluble vitamin, which you may be having problems absorbing. So get yourself on 100, maybe 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 a day. And then magnesium is extremely important for helping stabilize calcium metabolism. I'd be getting on 1,000 milligrams or so of magnesium. Get that OsteoMag. Ask Andy for the OsteoMag product, which is a good source of liquid magnesium. So here's your strategy. Number one, you want to practice deep breathing techniques. Number two, focus on digestive health, eliminate problem foods, take probiotics and digestive enzymes. Number three, magnesium and vitamin K. And then, let's see, there's one more thing I was going to say. I don't remember what that was, actually. But focus on digestive health. That's what I'd be doing. And then calcium, vitamin K and magnesium as well. Thanks so much for calling, Charmane. Stay in touch with me. I'd like to hear how you're doing. And good luck with everything. All right, our number's 866-582-9933. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You are listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. All right, we are back on The Bright Side. I am nutritional pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Thanks for joining us, friends. We're talking about cardiovascular health and amino acids for cardiovascular health, heart health, and taking your phone calls at 866-582-9933. Charmane, if you're still listening out there, try to focus on the heartburn, too. See if you notice that there's certain foods that trigger heartburn when you do your food diary. That's a sign that there could be something going on in the small intestine or the large intestine. That's something you really want to pay attention to. All right, thanks for your call too, Charmane. Hope everything works out for you. Moving on to Texas, let's talk to Tony. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Dr. I was wondering, do you advocate not eating corn, potatoes, rice, and wheat?
I don't want to say. Yeah, I don't want to say I advocate not eating it. I just want to say that they're not necessarily healthy foods, and pay attention to them. We have in our culture today, we somehow feel like grains are health foods. They're not health foods. There may be some healthy things in grains, and there definitely are some healthy things in grains. There's B vitamins, and especially the germ part of the grain. But overall, they're not healthy, and certainly if they're processed. As far as brown rice goes, is that what you asked about, Tony? Brown rice?
Yeah, is brown rice okay?
It's not that it's not okay. It's certainly better than white rice. And by the way, when you're looking at brown rice, you want the dark brown rice. There's light brown rice that has had part of the hull removed. Brown rice still has its hull, and that's where a lot of the nutritional value is maintained. So brown rice certainly has more nutritional value than white rice does. White rice is an absolutely awful, awful food. Brown rice is not an awful, awful food, but it's just like you don't need it. If you absolutely have to have some kind of carbohydrate, some kind of sweetness, then have a little bit of brown rice over white rice. But there's no real nutritional need for brown rice or white rice. If you absolutely need to have some rice with your Chinese food or whatever it is, then go with the brown rice. There's more nutritional value in it, but it's not a food that you need. As far as carbohydrates go, always best to stick with vegetables. A lot of times people talk about low carb and people feel like I'm always down on carbohydrates. It's not that I'm down on carbohydrates. Most of our calories should be coming from carbohydrates. However, those should be vegetable carbohydrates as much as possible. When you eat vegetable carbohydrates, not only do you get the carbs, but you get wonderful phytonutrients, plant nutrients, and you also get lots of fiber that helps slow down the release of the sugar. To answer your question, brown rice is better than white rice, but if you can avoid brown rice, it's probably best to do that as well. And thanks for calling. Appreciate it, Tony. Our number is 866-582-9933. What's going on, Matt, in D.C.?
Hi, Ben. First I wanted to thank you for everything that you do.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for thanking me.
And my question is, I was diagnosed with atrial standstill when I was 8. I'm 27 now.
Atrial, I'm sorry, what did you say, Matt? Atrial
standstill. Kind of a rare, it's similar to atrial fibrillation, but I have a chamber that just doesn't get an electrical impulse.
Got it.
And I've had a lot of success lately doing a lot of the things that you recommend, carnitine, arginine.
Nice.
I went on a basically Candida diet and got off of the poison that my doctor was feeding me, the Coumadin and
that's an awful one.
Atenolol.
And they were giving you, hang on real quick, Atenolol and Coumadin when you were a kid, they gave it to you?
Oh, yeah, for about almost 20 years.
When you were 8 years old, you were on Coumadin and Atenolol?
Yep.
Oh, man. Just for the listeners, Coumadin is a nasty blood thinner, one of the most ugliest toxic drugs of all, and atenolol is probably just a little bit better. That's a beta blocker. It goes by the name Tenormin. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So I got off their poison, and I got on a complete vegan diet, and have raised my heart rate from less than 10 beats per minute to up to 42 beats per minute. And
wow.
They told me that was not possible, but, So,
of course, yeah, you're right. Especially in D.C. You're like in the belly of the beast there when it comes to medicine, by the way, D.C. So you want some ideas? You want some tips?
Yeah, some more ideas. Maybe some things along the lines of the taurine and things like that.
Taurine rocks, man. I'd be getting on 1,000 milligrams a day of taurine. You said you're on arginine already, right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, do you know how much vitamin C are you taking?
No, I'm not really supplementing that often. Whenever I feel coming down with something, I take a good amount, but I have a
Get yourself on regular vitamin C. Very important. And also vitamin E, 400 IU a day of vitamin E, coenzyme Q10. I'd be taking 100 milligrams of the oil-soluble coenzyme Q10. Get yourself on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine because it's a good source of not only the vitamin C, but also the B complex. We haven't talked about the B complex for cardiovascular health, but that's very important. You should be taking magnesium. These are all very electrically active nutrients, so they'll help stabilize the electrical energy in addition to taurine. There's one more I want to tell you about. Essential fatty acids, very, very, very important for the electrical energy of the heart, especially omega-3 essential fatty acids. The Ultimate EFAs from Youngevity is a good product if you like the capsules. Udo's Blend is a good product if you like the liquid. And then you might want to also practice deep breathing techniques. Work on oxygenation, making sure that you're breathing in slowly and then exhaling powerfully. And then also the Candida diet is great for the listeners. The Candida diet is a low-sugar diet. Did you read, what did you learn about the Candida diet? Did you read Dr. Fuchs' book?
I just was looking for, I had a little oral thrush type symptom, so I figured out that could have been what caused, because I've always had a high wheat, high dairy diet my whole life. That could have been something that weakened my heart originally or whatever, so I was trying that out.
Do you notice any digestive symptoms?
Not since I've started this whole different change.
How has it been? Years?
I started completely in January. In January, I started the Candida, and then in September, I've been completely vegan.
You mean just the last few months? Then you've only been doing this
last January. Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about a year and a couple months ago.
Yes.
So you've changed your whole lifestyle around nutrition a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
and you got yourself up to 42 beats in a year and a half?
Yep.
Oh, man, you're doing great, buddy. You're on the right track. Give it some time, but you're definitely on the right track. I would certainly be throwing in the magnesium, the vitamin C, the essential fatty acids of the omega-3 variety, all the B complex. Again, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a great source of the vitamin C and the B. If you don't notice any digestive issues, that's great. But if you do notice digestive issues, that's something to think about, or that's something to pay attention to. I'd be getting on probiotics, just a good probiotic supplement anyway. And then also the mineral selenium is really important for cardiovascular health, and that's one that's difficult to get from food. So you might want to try 200 to 400 milligrams of selenium. There's a great longevity selenium product that'll cover your bases, 200 to 400 micrograms of selenium. There's tons more you can do, but that'll give you a good start, and you're doing great, buddy. That is awesome news. Congratulations, Matt.
Well, thank you.
All right, buddy. Thanks so much for calling. All right, let's see. I want to get to a couple letters real quick. Where we got here? John writes that what is the best memory therapy? Seems to have lost some of his memory after a bout with insomnia and adrenal failure. For memory, for brain health, you want to look at your essential fatty acids, and you want to look at other key nutrients. The B complex are very important for brain health, especially the B vitamin thiamine and the B vitamin niacin, vitamin B3. Niacin is really neat for emotional issues and for brain issues. In fact, niacin in its niacinamide form is very effective for treating social anxiety disorder. Dr. Abram Hoffer, in his book Orthomolecular Psychiatry, writes a lot about using niacin for treating schizophrenia. One of the signs of niacin deficiency, or one of the signs of pellagra, which is the disease caused by niacin deficiency, is mental problems. If you go to medical school, they tell you pellagra niacin deficiency is marked by the 4 Ds: diarrhea, dermatitis, dementia, and death. And today we know that many people suffer from subclinical pellagra, that is pellagra that is not bad enough for you to go to the doctor or the hospital, but bad enough for you to have some discomfort around mental issues, memory problems, confusion, dermatitis, rashes on the skin, or GI problems, including diarrhea. So subclinical pellagra is one of the things that I would consider if you have memory problems, John. The B vitamins in general are good for all brain health issues. And then the mineral zinc is very, very important for brain health. Zinc deficiency is very common. You want to make sure that you're getting you want to make sure you're getting 50 milligrams of zinc a day. You don't want to take too much zinc. 50 milligrams a day. I like the zinc picolinate form. And when you're supplementing with zinc, it's always a good idea to make sure you throw in a couple milligrams a day of copper as well. Okay, that's all we got time for today. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks to all our callers and letter writers. I am Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back at you tomorrow with more good health information. Stay tuned for Alex Jones next on most of these stations. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.